What if the war isn't happening on the battlefield? What if the war isn't happening in the ballot box, or in the comments section, or even in the heavens? What if the true war is happening in the geometry of your attention? Look around you. The world is burning with conflict. Red versus blue. Left versus right. Light versus dark. They demand you choose a side. They demand your outrage. They demand your fear. But have you ever paused to ask why the system is so desperate for your participation in its duality? They never wanted you to know that your exhaustion is not a bug. It is a feature. The fatigue you feel in your bones, that deep spiritual weariness from constantly reacting to the chaos of the world, is the harvest. You are being drained, and the mechanism of that drainage is division. There is a specific symbol, an ancient geometric truth that the Archons, the rulers of this construct, hate more than any other. It is not a sigil of war. It is not a complex magical seal. It is the simplest form in existence, the monad, the point in the center of the circle. This symbol screams unity in a world designed to sell you fraction. They suppressed this knowledge because the moment you understand the geometry of the monad, you understand the geometry of your own cage. The false god, the demiurge, is a creature of division. He splits the atom to create the explosion. He splits the psyche to create the trauma. But the monad is the remembrance that you and the source are one. This is not a history lesson. This is an active deprogramming session. We are going to explore why the Archons are terrified of you finding your center. We are going to decode how they use the illusion of polarity to keep you running on the rim of the wheel, far from the stillness of the hub. And most importantly, I am going to give you the map to return to that center point. This is about protecting your soul from the most sophisticated extraction system in the universe. If you are tired of the noise, if you are tired of the game, listen closely. It is time to stop fighting the reflection and break the mirror. The architecture of division. You have been taught to view the world through a lens of opposition. Good against evil. Us against them. This binary code is the foundational programming of the Matrix. In the Gnostic texts, particularly in the hypostasis of the Archons, we learn that the rulers of this realm are blind. They are cut off from the pleroma, the fullness of the divine source. Because they are cut off, they cannot generate energy. They can only copy, distort, and consume. They are parasites of consciousness, and a parasite needs a host that is agitated. Think of the traditional dogma you grew up with. The church, the institutions, the schools. They all taught you that you are small, separate, and in need of salvation from an external force. They placed God up there and you down here. That gap, that distance between you and the divine, that is the kill zone. That is where the Archons live. They dwell in the separation. When you believe you are separate from the source, you generate fear, you generate longing, you generate a desperate need for validation. This emotional output is louche. It is food. The Archons constructed a reality based on the number 2, duality. But the monad represents the number 1, the indivisible. When you look at the symbol of the monad, that single, solitary point within the circle, you are looking at a representation of the pleroma before the fall, before the error of Sophia, before the arrogance of Yaldabaoth. The Archons hate this symbol because it renders their entire existence unnecessary. If you are already whole, if you are already one with the center, you have no need for their hierarchies, their judgments, or their karmic loops. Let's bring this down from the cosmos to the device in your hand. Look at your social media feed. What do you see? It is a perfect replica of the archontic structure. The algorithm is designed to show you exactly what will trigger a binary reaction. It shows you something to love or something to hate. It demands you click, like, or leave an angry comment. It demands polarization. Every time you get dragged into an online debate, every time you feel that spike of adrenaline because someone on the other side said something outrageous, you are feeding the Archons. You are stepping out of the center and onto the rim of the wheel. The rim is where the speed is. The rim is where the nausea is. The rim is where you get dizzy and forget who you are. The modern world is designed to keep you on the periphery of your own soul, constantly looking outward, constantly reacting. They weaponize your empathy. They weaponize your sense of justice. They trick you into thinking that by picking a side in their orchestrated conflicts, you are changing the world, but you are simply powering the battery. Pause for a moment. Right now, close your eyes. Visualize that chaos, the scrolling feed, the shouting news anchors, the endless arguments, as a swirling storm of gray smoke. See it spinning faster and faster. Now, notice that you are watching the smoke. You are not the smoke. You are the one seeing it. That distance, that is the first step back to the monad. Take a deep breath and let the smoke spin without you. The invisibility of 0 point. Why is the monad a weapon? Because it grants you invisibility. In the astral realms and in the psychological realms, entities track you by your vibration. Specifically, they track you by your polarity. If you are heavily charged with anger, you shine like a red beacon. If you are heavily charged with fear, you pulse with a sickly light. Even excessive, unbalanced positive mania can be a hook. They grab onto these handles. They need friction to grip you. The monad is the 0 point. It is the point of balance where positive and negative cancel each other out. Not into nothingness, but into potentiality. Into pure power. When you inhabit the center of the circle, you become smooth. You have no handles. The Archons reach for you, but they slip off. They try to trigger you with a headline, a crisis, a threat. But you remain in the center. You observe it. You understand it. But you do not become it. The Gnostic Gospel of Thomas speaks of this state. When you make the two into one, and when you make the inner like the outer, and the outer like the inner, then you will enter the kingdom. This is not a metaphor for the afterlife. This is a manual for stealth mode in the Matrix right now. The kingdom is the state of sovereign consciousness where the Archons cannot touch you. They have suppressed the monad because they want you to believe that peace is something you must fight for. How many times have you heard that? Fight for peace. It is an oxymoron. It is a trap. You cannot fight your way to the center. You can only release your way there. The false light of the New Age will tell you to ignore the darkness, to bypass it. The Gnostic truth is different. The Gnostic truth says, acknowledge the darkness, acknowledge the light, and stand in the place where they originate. Stand in the source. Consider the concept of identity politics, or the rigid labels we attach to ourselves. I am this. I am that. Every label is a boundary. Every boundary is a wall. And every wall is a surface for an Archon to bang against. The monad has no label. It simply is. It is the I am without the predicate. When you strip away the labels, the political party, the job title, the social status, even the human name, what remains? That point of consciousness, that is the monad. That is the gold they are trying to hide from you under mountains of meaningless dirt. You are exhausted because you are carrying the weight of identities that are not yours. You are carrying the weight of battles that were scripted before you were born. The collective consciousness is screaming for relief. It wants to go home, but it keeps looking for home in the external world, in the next election, in the next purchase, in the next relationship. It is looking for the center on the rim. You will never find the center on the rim. You have to stop moving. You have to turn inward. Try this mental shift. Imagine your attention is a beam of light. Usually, it is shined outward, illuminating the world, the problems, the distractions. Now, imagine bending that beam back on itself. Look at the one who is looking. Focus on the feel of your own presence, that sensation of simply existing, before you have a thought, before you have a worry. That specific frequency is the frequency of the pleroma. It burns the parasites. They cannot feed on a soul that is self-sustained. They can only feed on a soul that is leaking. The monad plugs the leaks. The return of the sovereign. We are speaking of a rebellion, but not a rebellion of guns or riots. This is a rebellion of stillness. This is a rebellion of silence. The Archons fear the silent human because the silent human is listening to a frequency they cannot jam. When you are in the monad, you are connected to the epinoia, the luminous imagination, the spirit given by the true source to help humanity remember. The system is loud. Have you noticed? The music is loud. The notifications are loud. The cities are loud. Silence is the enemy of the control grid. In silence, the polarization dissolves. In silence, you realize that the person you were taught to hate is just another battery being drained, just like you. Compassion arises not from moral obligation, but from clarity. You see the trap, and when you see the trap, you stop stepping in it. This is how you protect your soul. You do not protect it by building higher walls or attacking the darkness. You protect it by withdrawing your consent to the game of duality. You withdraw your energy from the pendulum. Let it swing. Let the world scream. Let the chaos churn. You are the eye of the hurricane. The eye is calm. The eye is clear. And from that place of clarity, you can act. You can move, but you move with intention, not reaction. You move as an agent of the light, not a pawn of the Archons. The 0-point protocol. How do we apply this? How do we turn this philosophy into a shield that works on a Tuesday morning when the world is trying to crush you? We need a technology of the soul. We need a protocol to reset the monad within you. I call this the 0-point protocol. It is a method to become invisible to the drainage mechanisms of the matrix. Step 1. Observe, don't absorb. This is the golden rule. Throughout your day, you will be bombarded with triggers, news, insults, stressors. The moment you feel that emotional hook land, that tightening in your chest, that heat in your face, stop. Acknowledge the hook. Say to yourself, I see this reaction, but I am not this reaction. Visualize the emotion as a wave passing through you. Do not build a dam to stop it. Let it pass. If you do not grab it, it cannot drag you. You are the sky, not the weather. The Archons feed on the weather. Be the sky. Step 2. The centering breath. When you feel yourself being pulled to the rim, of anxiety or anger, physically stop. Place your hand on the center of your chest. This is your heart center, the physical anchor of the monad. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds. As you hold the breath, visualize a single, bright point of white gold light in the center of your chest. Focus all your attention on that dot. In that dot, There is no politics. There is no debt. There is no fear. There is only the eternal GThe. Expand that dot until it encompasses your body. You are now inside the monad. Step 3. Radiate neutrality. This is the advanced technique. When you engage with others, especially those who are asleep or combative, do not match their frequency. If they come at you with anger, do not meet them with anger, which feeds the Archon, and do not meet them with fear, which feeds the Archon. Meet them with the 0 point. Listen. Look at them. Radiate a calm, neutral presence. You will be amazed at what happens. Often, they will stutter. They will lose their train of thought. The energy vampire cannot latch on if there is no Velcro. Your neutrality starves the interaction of Loosh. You become a glitch in their script. This protocol is your armor. It is not a passive state. It is a dynamic state of high-frequency balance. By refusing to be divided, you become whole. By refusing to be a victim, you become a creator. We have walked through the valley of the shadow of duality. We have seen the machinery of the Archons, how they use the illusion of opposites to grind the soul into dust. They wanted you to believe that the monad, the symbol of unity, was just a drawing, a myth, or nothing at all. But now you know. It is the key to your cell. The walls of your prison are made of conflict. Stop fighting the walls, and they disappear. Return to the center. The collective consciousness is at a breaking point. It is exhausted from choosing sides in a war that was rigged from the start. The world is waiting for souls who can hold the frequency of unity in a realm of division. The world is waiting for you to remember. This is the ultimate rebellion. To be in the world, but not of it. To walk through the fire and not be burned. Because you are centered in the water of life. I want you to try the 0 point protocol today. The next time the system tries to trigger you, find that dot, find that silence, and watch the power of the Archons dissolve before your eyes. Are you the battle, or are you the field where it happens? Are you the character, or are you the player? If this message resonated with the memory in your blood, confirm your sovereignty. Leave a comment below declaring, "I am the center." Let the algorithm see that we are not divided. Let us find each other in the static. Subscribe to this channel if you are ready to decode more of the forbidden history. Share this transmission with someone who needs to find their way back home. The rebellion has begun, and it begins in silence. Stay centered. Stay awake. Remember,